Check it out. I own this house in Indiana and I want to sell it to you using creative financing terms. That means you could own this cash flowing rental property without qualifying for a bank loan. Stay to the end of this video to find out how, but first, let me show you how I found this deal and why I bought it for all cash, sight unseen, and why I decided to turn around and sell it with creative financing terms. This house is in a small town called Logansport, Indiana. Logansport? Is it Logansport or is it Logansport? Whichever it is, it's a quiet little town about an hour and a half north of Indianapolis. This house was originally listed for sale by owner on Zillow a few months ago for $120,000. It was brought to me by one of my deal finders named Celia. Now Celia is a member of my 10K club where I pay people to bring me deals. Celia found the deal, contacted the seller, negotiated and secured the contract for $59,000. Then she submitted the deal to me. It met my criteria as a good deal, so I stepped in and bought the house and paid her $10,000 just for bringing me the deal. By the way, I'm looking for more deals, so if you want to learn how you can get paid $10,000 for every deal you find that meets my criteria, go to my10kcheck.com to register for a free training to get all the details. So, what made this a good deal for me to buy for $69,000? Let me show you. Whenever looking at properties to buy, the first step is to establish the market value. And as an investor, I really want to understand the full potential value, not just the current as-is value. In other words, if I add value in the form of updating and renovating this house, what price will a retail buyer pay for this property? This potential value is what we often call the after repair value, or ARV. ARV is what the house will sell for to a homeowner after I fix it up. It's the future value assuming it gets rehabbed. Understanding ARV gives me a starting point because I can't make other important decisions before first understanding the maximum potential value. The process of determining ARV is often called comping a property. Comping is the process of analyzing comparable homes in the neighborhood that have recently sold. The idea is to gather enough data to establish a trend. The reason why this works is because the best indication of future performance is to look at past performance. I always say the market doesn't lie. It's everyday buyers in the marketplace that determine the value of a home. So if you look at enough relevant comps in the neighborhood, you can figure out with some level of certainty the ARV. With this house in Logansport, it's a 2-story, 1,800 square foot, 3-bedroom, 1-bath home with no garage. Now, ideally, I want to find 5 or 6 relevant comps, but for the sake of time, let's look at just 3 comps I use to determine the ARV. All 3 of these comps are in the same neighborhood and recently sold in the past few months. The first comp is a 3-bedroom, 2-story like mine, and you can see it's been renovated. It does have a few more things going for it than my house. It has a garage and a second bath. Remember, my house does not have a garage and only has 1 bath. It recently sold for $77 per square foot. Now, price per square foot is calculated by dividing the sold price by the square footage of the home. This is important because it gives us a uniform way of measuring the data. Now, the second comp I looked at was this house. It's a ranch, not a 2-story like my house, but it's about the same square footage and also only has 1 bath. What it has better than me is 4 bedrooms, not 3, and it does have a garage. It sold for $85 per square foot. And the third comp I looked at was this house, which is on the same street, which makes it a very relevant comp. Now, it's a lot smaller at 1,344 square feet, but it has 2 baths and a garage, and it sold for $86 per square foot. So these 3 comps sold for $77 a square foot, $85 a square foot, and $86 a square foot to give us an average of $83 per square foot. But since they have garages and most have a second bath and my house doesn't, I'm going to discount the price per square foot by $10 per square foot to $72 per square foot. So if I take my house and multiply 1,800 square feet by $72 per square foot, that equals $130,000 as an ARV. Again, that means if I fix it up to match the quality to equal the comps we just looked at, I should be able to resell this house for $130,000 on the open market. And remember, I bought it for $69,000, which is almost half of the ARV. The next question is, what needs fixed up and how much is it going to cost to rehab so that I could sell it for $130,000? And that's the beauty of this deal. This house is really not that bad. Even the appliances were included. For a flip, I'd budget $20,000 for some flooring, paint, maybe some new stainless steel appliances, and probably a handful of minor repairs. For a rental, I don't think I would do much of anything. So after establishing the ARV and repairs, the next step is determine what I call the exit strategy. You never want to get into a deal without having a clear path to get out of the deal. For me, there are 3 different exit strategies to consider, which I'll explain, but keep in mind, wholesaling is always the first exit strategy whenever you get a good deal. That's what Celia decided to do. She got the deal for $59,000 and decided the best exit for her was to wholesale it to me for $10,000 more. And that's the beauty of wholesaling and why I love it so much. You don't have to have cash or raise capital to buy it. You don't have to own the property or manage the rehab. It's the fastest and easiest way to make money in real estate. So if you're just getting started, be sure to get my Quickstart Kit, which has everything you need to help you get your first deal in the next 30 days. To get that for free, just go to myquickstartkit.com. Back to my 3 possible exit strategies. The first is obvious, and that's a good old-fashioned fix and flip, which I do a lot of flipping. Let's take a look at the profit potential for a fix and flip, and keep in mind, I'm not factoring in borrowing money to buy or fix it up. On this deal, I'm using my own cash. If you don't have the cash, don't let that stop you. I did a video that explains in detail how to fix and flip houses using 100% financing. I'll put that video link in the description below and you can watch it later. Let's take a look at the math. If I were to spend $20,000 rehabbing this house and then flip it for $130,000 after subtracting $59,000 for the purchase, minus $10,000 to my finder, minus $20,000 for the rehab, minus $10,500 in closing fees and commissions when I sell it, that would be a net profit of $30,500. Not a bad little flip. That's option 1. My next option is to keep it as a rental. The going rent rate in that area for this house is $1,050 per month. Now, if I factor $105 a month for property management, $75 a month for insurance, and $50 a month for property taxes, that would give me $820 a month in positive cash flow, or $9,840 annually. And assuming I leave my cash in the deal and don't refinance, I would earn 14.2% annual cash-on-cash return on my $69,000 investment. And keep in mind, I'd have approximately $61,000 in phantom equity or paper equity, which is the difference between my buy price of $69,000 and the ARV of $130,000. Now I call it phantom equity because I'd have to sell the house for $130,000 and that doesn't factor in cost for repairs or closing fees. And just as an afterthought, unlike a flip, which is the highest taxable income, owning a long-term rental allows you to take advantage of some tax benefits such as depreciation. So flipping it or renting it are the 2 most common exit strategies, but I considered a third option, which is a bit unconventional, and that's to sell it to another buy and hold investor using creative financing terms. Here's how it would work. I would sell this house for $100,000 with $25,000 as a down payment. The remaining $75,000, I would do a seller finance loan at 8% interest only. Interest only means the payment just covers interest and doesn't pay down the principal. This keeps the monthly payment lower. Now, a seller finance loan, or what sometimes is called an owner carry, means essentially I would be the bank for the investor. And what's cool about that is, unlike traditional financing with a bank, I only care about 2 things. I care about the $25,000 down payment, and I care about holding a first position lien on the property. The $25,000 is what I call your skin in the game, and the first lien position protects me in the event you default on the loan. I can foreclose and repossess the property. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about your credit history. I don't care about your credit score. I don't care about your income, and I don't want to see your tax returns or bank statements. I don't care where you get the down payment money. I don't care if you're a bank robber or on America's Most Wanted. I could care less. Why? Because if you default on my loan, I'll take back the property and I'll sell it again to someone else. I mean, I'd prefer that you weren't a serial killer, but hey, nobody's perfect. There's a few more terms you need to know. 8% interest only on a $75,000 loan is a $500 a month payment, and I would put a 3-year balloon on the loan. That means the loan is due in full in 3 years, which gives the borrower plenty of time to get a refinance and pay off the loan of $75,000. So how does this make sense for a buy and hold investor? Well, let's run the numbers. The rent is $1,050 a month, and after paying a $500 a month interest payment to Jerry, $105 a month for property management, $75 a month for insurance, and $50 a month for property taxes, that leaves a $320 a month positive cash flow, or $3,840 annually. And since the buyer invested $25,000 in cash for the down payment, the annual cash-on-cash return would be 15.3%. Now, if the buyer managed the tenant without property management, it would be over 20% cash-on-cash return. Also keep in mind there would be $30,000 in phantom equity, which is the difference between the buy price of $100,000 and the ARV of $130,000. Now, these are pretty good numbers considering a buy and hold investor can easily pick up a nice cash flowing rental property without bank financing. Now, going back to option 3 for me to sell this house with seller financing, let's take a look at those numbers. It's actually pretty simple. Since I bought the house for $69,000, if I got $25,000 down payment from the buy and hold investor, I would have a total cash outlay of $44,000 in the deal. And if I collect $500 a month interest payments on my $75,000 seller carry loan, I would earn $6,000 a year, which would be a 13.6% cash-on-cash return on my $44,000 investment. Also keep in mind, I'd have $31,000 in real equity because once the borrower pays off the loan of $75,000, I would net another $31,000 on top of my earned interest. More on that in a minute. So let's recap all 3 options. Option 1, I could fix and flip it. I'd be in and out in 90 days or so and make a quick $31,000, but I'd be subject to higher taxes. Option 2, I could keep it and rent it, earning a 14.2 cash-on-cash return, plus any appreciation over time, and I'd get the tax benefits. Or option 3, I could sell it on seller financing terms, which would earn a 13.6%, and I wouldn't have to manage a rental. I'd just get to be the bank. So, what option would you choose? I'd love to know. Leave a comment and explain why. And I decided to choose option 3 and sell it with seller financing, and here's why. More than likely, whoever buys it will wait the 3 years to refinance and pay off the loan. So assuming I carry it the full 3 years, I'd earn $18,000 in total interest payments plus $31,000 profit at the payoff for a total of $49,000. Now, if I average that over 3 years, my cash-on-cash return would be 37% annually. Now, if you think that's brilliant, leave a comment and say, Jerry, you're a flipping genius. And I'm glad you made it this far. If you have $25,000 and you want to buy this property with seller financing terms, as I explained on this video, then you'll need to sign a purchase contract with me with no contingencies and put down a $5,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit and be able to close in 2 weeks. It's first come, first serve, so let my team know by sending an email to support@flippingmastery.com and also send me a DM on Facebook @flippingmastery. And finally, on this video, I explained just one method of using creative financing, but there are in fact several different strategies, and I explain them all in detail in a guide I created that I'll give to you for free. Just go to creativefinancing.hacks.com and I'll see you on the next video.